Good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. I trust that you are well this wonderful morning. As you can tell, I want to get this out of the way. This is a screenshot of the map of the weather map as of probably 2 minutes ago. That red thing right there in the middle of the screen is where the eye of the tropical storm Nicole is currently. It came on shore this morning down in this area of Florida on the east coast, and now it is making its way. You see here, I'm from where I am. I am about, and it's hard to do on this lack of green screen, about here where my finger is moving. The storm is actually moving up and away from me. That was a really bad weatherman job of doing that, I know, but that's what's actually that's what's actually happening. So there you go. Well, hang on a second here. Let me see if I can do this a little better. I hate to do things badly. Let's see here if I can share a screen here. And here we are right here. Here's the eye of the storm right here. Here's where we're sitting right here. So we're getting some of these bands, heavy rains. Most of the green, if you're not used to a lot of rain, most of the green are clouds and some rain. And we have a lot of clouds and we have rain, and there's a big wind to feel. These the red obviously is a little heavier rains. The yellow, the greens are the lighter rains. And as it moves this direction, it moves counterclockwise. The storm's going to move. Came in here this morning, and it's going to make its way out that direction. So to get that taken care of for you, we're good here. We are good. We're just hoping that the power stays on. It should. The family prayed last night and this morning that our power stays on, and it should. We shouldn't have any problem with that. The wind right now in our area is not bad. All right, now that that's out of the way. 2 days ago was the midterm elections, and Republicans are licking their wounds and looking for things and people to blame, because that's what the political cycle really means. Who's at fault? It didn't work out like it was supposed to. And I'm going to talk about things like expectation. I'm going to talk about hyperbole like we did yesterday, and what do we do now moving forward? Because that's really more important than anything. We're going to cover a couple of stories, and then I'm going to help you with all of that when we get done with that. Anyway, my name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. Morning Report is a production of FightBackMedia.com, 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 and FightBackMediaTV.com. We'll be back right after these messages. Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet.
And you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices. And you'd be right. They most certainly are. Um, but you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those one of those places is freedomforum.website. Freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or a phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com. And you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report.
All right, again, thank you for coming to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. It is the, what's today? The 10th of November. Getting closer and closer to Thanksgiving. Can't wait, really. All right, let's go ahead and continue our post-mortem on the 2022 midterm elections. I'll be super honest with you, because I don't trust the left at all, and Democrats even less. I am surprised that Herschel Walker and Ralph Warnock are in a runoff for the Georgia Senate race. You know, a douchebag and a turd sandwich. That's all you got there. I don't think either. You know, I'll be honest with you. I want Herschel Walker to win. Let's not get it twisted. I do want Herschel Walker to win, but I don't think either of these guys are great candidates. I don't think Herschel Walker's a great candidate. I know he got the Trump endorsement. He got the Trump endorsement because Herschel Walker played for the New Jersey Generals. Who are the New Jersey Generals? The New Jersey Generals are a USFL team that was owned by Donald Trump. So they became friends way back. And I think that that is what prompted the Trump endorsement. And that has kept Herschel Walker in the race. And of course, because this is going into a this is going into a runoff, what we're going to see is it's going to be all hands on deck for both sides, for Warnick and for Herschel Walker. All hands on deck. Depending on what happens in Arizona and Nevada. If the Democrats win both of those races, then you're going to see sort of a hands-off approach. Let sleeping dogs lay, and whatever happens, approach in Georgia. But until then, it's going to be all hands on deck. You're probably going to see Trump there. You're going to see DeSantis there. You're going to see all the hot shots there. You're going to see Carrie Lake there. Even if Carrie Lake doesn't win her governorship, she's going to be there. Everybody is going to be there. It's going to be like the Heisman House. Everyone's going to be there. So that ought to be very, very interesting as we move forward. Let's see, Spencer Brown wrote an article yesterday. As the drama of the midterm continues with the balance of power of the House and the Senate still unknown, at least one campaign just got extended another several weeks as the U.S. Senate race in Georgia heads to a December 6th runoff between Democrat incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock and GOP challenger Herschel Walker. Sorry, I hit my yoke. My flight simulator. I probably should take that down while I'm doing this, but it's a pain in the butt to take up and down, so I'm not going to. According to Decision Desk HQ, the two candidates are separated by roughly 35,000 votes, with Warnock drawing 49.2% of the more than 3.9 million votes cast to Walker's 48.52%, neither clearing the 50% threshold necessary to win outright in Tuesday's general election and avoid a runoff. With a few U.S. Senate races still to be called out west, it's not clear whether Georgia will again determine the final balance of power in the upper chamber for the new Congress, as it did in 2021 special elections, but saw both Republican candidates and lose to Democrat Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. Remember that? What a cluster that was. If the outcome of Georgia's Senate race becomes the deciding vote in the Senate majority, the Peach State will again become the center focus for both parties' national apparatus to draw big name surrogates, even more outside money as the GOP and the Democrats go for broke and try to win or retain power in the Senate, which is what I said. Everybody's going to be there. It's going to be all hands on deck. It's going to be dig deep in your wallets. Let's get this done. Let's go, because it's all about power. I don't think either side gives a rat's butt about if either of these people will be any good for the state of Georgia or the United States or themselves or their families or anybody. It's just about winning at this point. So the way the thing stands right now, Democrats are leading in Arizona Senate race, while Republicans are up in the Nevada contest. If those trends continue and Senator Mark Kelly hangs on to power in Arizona, while Adam Laxalt unseats Catherine Cortez Masto, then yet again, Georgia will determine whether Republicans end the cycle with a Senate majority or if things remain the way they are, started with a 50-50 split. Now, with a 50-50 split, Democrats control the Congress because they have the deciding vote in the vice presidency. There we are. So we're going to see what happens. It is the same. It's the same crap, kids. It's the same crap. And if you're wondering how and why this stuff happens, it's because there are a lot of Republican strategists, frankly, I don't think that get. I still don't think they get it. I really don't think they get it. That what needs to always happen is you need to move the needle. Let's see if I can show this to you. You always need to move the needle in the population centers. All right, here we go. Here we have a map of Georgia. And this is the map of Georgia and the Senate race. As you can see, look at all this red. If people go, look at all that red. You know, it would seem like Herschel Walker is crushing Ralph Warnick. No, Ralph Warnick is actually winning because of what? Where do the people live? They live in Savannah, Augusta, Atlanta, and Columbus. These are the neighboring counties. Let's give you an idea. How about this little county out here? I'm not even sure what that county is called. Are we going to get a name? No, we're not going to get. Yeah, we will. This is Catoosa County. Herschel Walker is winning 76% to 21%, crushing Ralph Warnick. Let's look down here near the Florida border. I think that's like the Flounds County. I think I'm trying to find Thomasville. That's Brooks. Where is Tom? Is that Thomasville there? Hang on a second. No, that's Eccles. That's too far away. Give me a second. Thomas County. There you go. Where Thomasville, Georgia is. This is basically right over, just north of Tallahassee, which is the state capital of Florida. A lot of people, live in Leon County in Tallahassee and work in Thomas County, Georgia, and vice versa. So, gives you an idea of what we're talking about. Herschel Walker is doing very well against Ralph Warnick in Thomas County. Here's where he's not doing well. I think this is Fulton County. Fulton County is Atlanta, and the city of Atlanta. That is a heavily Democrat district. But you'll notice a whole lot more people live there. Yeah, Herschel Walker's got 102,000 votes there, but just a lot more people live there. Yeah, so Warnick is up 73 to 52. But because there's so many more people live there overall, when you count these votes, he's got more votes. There you go. In this county, in Bibb County, a smaller county, it's a little bit more reasonable. He's still up 61. Warnick is still up 61 to 37, but we're only talking about 32,000 votes as opposed to 20. Let's get this little county up out here. Dade County. Yeah, Walker is crushing Warnick in Dade County. Great, you won Dade County. Great, fantastic. But you only won 4,600 votes. You need to go into Fulton County, and although you may not win Fulton County, you've got to change that number right there. You've got to increase this number. Although it may not be enough to win, but you've got to, in a state election, be able to move the needle. In all these blue counties, there's Cobb County, Douglas, Fulton. That's Fulton. What's this one? Gwinnett County. All these counties here, Newton. You've got to go in there and move the needle. And if that isn't the strategy, then you will always have the situation that you have now in this race. You will always have that situation. Been trying to tell Republicans that for more than 10 years. It's great to go to the rallies. We talked about rallies yesterday, and get your beak stroked, and everybody loves you and it's wonderful. But you need to go into the into the pit where everybody's sitting in the audience like this, looking at you with an ensconced eye. This is where you have to make your argument. And your argument can't be a series of talking points that you've been given that are one size fit all. You have to convince that audience in Fulton County, in Gwinnett County, in Cobb County. This is why you should do something that you've never done. As they're sitting here like this, looking at you, you've got to convince them why they should do something they've never done. And that's not easy to do. I try to do it. It's not easy to do, but it's necessary. It's more necessary than going to Dade County, where you're up by where you're going to win 80% of the vote. Not that those people don't count, not that those people don't matter, but they're not going to cause you to win. And frankly, they're not going to cause you to lose either. That 4,600 votes is not going to make a difference. There you are. All right, when we get back, we're going to talk about the GOP leader's speech and what Kevin McCarthy had to say and how that's going to manifest moving forward, because moving forward is the only thing you can do at this point. All right, my name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. We'll be back right after these messages. So is it okay now, because it was, I mean, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's
yeah. We talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy's mental health.
The president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's especially bad. I mean, I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president, or were you five?
You see, what I want. See, the next question is, excuse me,
I was told to call on what you call it for NBC. Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I mean, I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
All right, we are back. On the screen now is a weather map that you see from AccuWeather from 8:40 or 8:30 this morning into what it probably will look like until 11:30. And you can see, as we talked about earlier, the yellow portion is in and out over the Tampa Bay area as the storm rolls around counterclockwise. The track will be pulling it back to the northeast and exiting the state probably south of Jacksonville, or even north of Jacksonville, I think, into South Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, in that area. Let me see if I can back that out. There we go. We got this, and this is going to be moving that direction. There we go. So the eye of this storm somewhere. Let's see. Again, it's not, when you have one of those crazy violent storms, you can see the definite eye and eye wall, but very tough to see here. This is a general center of circulation, which is northeast of the Tampa Bay area. Just generally speaking, when you're in one of these storms, that's really the side to be on, really. Especially when you're talking about flooding, because what happens then is the wind pushes the water this direction from here, and if you're on the right hand side, it pushes the water from the northeast to the southwest. If you're on the other side of the storm, it pulls the water up from the southeast to the northwest, and when the water gets pulled up, that's when you get a lot of coastal flooding. Now, what somebody mentioned, as the storm moves north of us, we'll be in an area where we might get a little of that same deal from the southwest to the northeast that will push the water into Tampa Bay. By then, the storm will be so far away, we don't expect any real damage. I know that I am not a meteorologist, but so many people are thankfully concerned about how we're doing down here. when we have these kind of storms, it's always my pleasure to tell you that we're cool. You know, if we weren't cool, I would tell you. I know that you see that we've got, always tells we got, Nicole makes early landfall, and there are top winds at over 70 miles an hour. When they say top winds, they mean wind gusts, and those come near the eye wall. And as you can see, the eye wall that we just talked about is non-distinct, and whatever the center of circulation is a good distance from where we're sitting right now, so we should be good. All right, that's enough of the weather. Let's go ahead and talk about GOP House Leader Kevin McCarthy. The idea of what happened, people are saying was an unmitigated disaster for Republicans. It was, some people like Spencer Brown was saying it was a disastrous night. To say it was just a disappointment was an understatement. The Republicans had a fertile political climate to generate a wave election year and fail to capitalize, leading Democrats being able to survive. Now, here we're talking about expectations again. Expectations is hyperbole. And both of those things often ignore reality. So you're going to ask me, why here in the state of Florida did we do so well? Because we had a governor and we have candidates that decided to use the issues. And there were issues. One of the issues was, and again, was of course the economy. But fortunately, our economy was a little better than a lot of places because we didn't allow for the shutdowns and the school closures during COVID. Too many Republicans in places who were, frankly, who were not in charge, had these places that had shutdowns and lockdowns and stuff, and you were afraid to speak out, to speak out against it. My governor was not. And you were afraid, and they were afraid to talk about social issues like drag shows and transgenderism and pulling all that stuff into schools. My governor was not. Passed legislation. So it's what I always say. Republicans in Florida did their work. They did their work in places, like I mentioned in the first story, where a lot of Republicans around the country did not do, but expected somehow. And I can't imagine that even some conservative media expected somehow that everybody in the country would just go along with the program. First of all, that never happens, ever happens. And you have to make your case. And you have to make your case before election day. And your case can't be, well, we're better than them. That doesn't work, especially if you're asking people in places to do something they've never done before. Herschel Walker can't just say, well, I'm better than Ralph the Warlock Warnock. That will not be a convincing enough approach to winning votes in Fulton County. He's got to convince people who have never done this. And again, the same thing in Pennsylvania, the same thing in Arizona, the same thing in Nevada, the same thing in Michigan, the same thing in New York. You have to convince people who have never voted Republican why they should this time. And you have to go into places that are going to sit, again, people are going to sit there with their arms folded going, looking at you with a side eye going, why are you even here? You got to go into those places and you've got to make a compelling argument. Republicans did not do that during the campaign during the campaign portion. They just enjoy the national press. Oh, we're going to win. We're going to win. Yes. Why? Because Joe Biden's an idiot. Again, the results of Tuesday night were because you didn't do your work. You expected a good grade, but you didn't do any work. You didn't study. You expected to win the game, but you didn't practice well. You're entitled. And you didn't get what you thought you would get. You're like, well, we always win that. Everyone, we're going to win the House because that's historic. That's what always happens. Not if you don't do your work. You have to do your work. Barack Obama got Republicans to do something that they had never done. They voted Democrat. He made a compelling enough argument for some people, not for me, but for some people to get them to do something that they had never done. And if you want to take the White House and the Senate and keep the House for 2024, you better be able to do exactly what I'm saying. So Kevin McCarthy is trying to spin the whole thing like, yes, our goal was taking the House back. And the Senate was, and he's right, and taking the Senate really was kind of an outlier. That might happen. And that wasn't, and it was basically one of those things like, and no one was really talking about that until later, until later. The idea is that the House is what they were looking to take back. And also that Kevin McCarthy needs to worry about anyway, because that's his deal. The speech, is this Spencer? Who wrote this? Is Spencer or Matt? It's Matt. Matt Vespa of townhall.com. Matt said the speech oozed of Trumpism, which was the tone that we didn't need to hear. Florida was the only state that saw red wave tangibles. Everywhere else, the party got killed or faced an uphill slog to victory. McCarthy's address gave off an aura that 2022 was a throwback to the 2010 Tea Party wave. Wasn't even close. And this detachment from the situation on the ground is probably why we lost this year, and why we have some Republicans who cannot read the room. Let's say House Republican majorities will be 8 seats. The reckless Democrat Party spending will be curtailed. Still, given the rising crime, high inflation, and economic recessions, Republicans should have been able to develop a compelling message campaign. Although unhappy with the economy and their financial situation, voters weren't convinced that the GOP could fix it either. Matt, he's a hoot. The red wave turned out to be a low tide. I don't know if it was a bust. I know that expectations were high, probably too high. And I think that what happened was that expectations built, and then that emotion fed on itself, and it got bigger and bigger. Not only are we going to win the House, we're going to take over the Senate. We're going to win every governor's race. And why? Because look at what's going on. Can't you see what's going on? Yes, but you still have to win each and every vote, and you have to win each and every election. And there is no one size fit all approach to any of it. So very little that Kevin McCarthy could do, very little that Mitch McConnell is able to do, but that's the whole thing, right? Or the GOP, individual candidates. If there was something similar, we had a whole bunch of people who were first-time candidates, and we had this throw in our primaries where we're going to throw the bums out, and then we ended up with a whole bunch of first-time candidates who couldn't find their butt with both hands, a flashlight and a team of search dogs, as it related to being able to campaign and make these compelling arguments to people who had never done what you were going to ask them to do. So you know what they did? They did what they always do. They did what they always do. Yes. All right. We're going to get a little break. We'll be back with more of the program right after these messages.
Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet. And you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices. And you'd be right. They most certainly are. But you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those places is freedomforum.website. Freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or a phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com. And you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report.
Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We trust that you are well this Thursday morning. I have the whole day off because of the storm. What I didn't have a whole day off was when this was going on back here. And this is in my town. This is actually not far. This scene here is during the summer of love. This happened not far from where I live, and didn't have the day off then. Should have had that day off. Did not. Went to work the very next day. Didn't go to work there. Nobody went to work there. Didn't drive, that car right there. Nobody. Let me see if I can do this. I didn't drive this car right here. Nobody drove that car right there or worked in this building. Again, both of these things were not far from where I'm sitting right now in the summer of love. In any case, and I think that Republicans, and I think Republican media made the mistake of loading up all these things. I have aught against you for this, which may have all been legitimate. But so few people have a real understanding of what any of them mean individually, let alone this stacking of all of this stuff, including the economy. Now, the economy and inflation are bad, but people are we have to be realistic. People are getting by. It shouldn't be happening. It's caused by bad policies, and it shouldn't be happening. I think that also we live in at a time where people have to experience pain, and what we don't have as conservatives is that we don't have legacy media. We don't. We don't. And legacy media kept telling people it was like Emperor's New Clothes, or that scene in The Wizard of Oz where the wizard is saying, ignore the man behind the curtain. Yeah. And we don't have that. So we sort of talked ourselves into this red wave. And so it was like getting jacked up at Christmas time. So when it didn't happen in the way that our brains thought it would happen, our hearts thought it would happen. Now there's this massive disappointment. And now we're looking for who failed. Well, in the marching band world where I'm from, it's what we call a unit error. It's easy to look down the field and find individual error where the trumpet player who was supposed to turn, this direction turns that direction. Oops, easy to see, an individual error. But when there are so many errors that happen at the same time, if that happens to a bunch of people at the same time, and it's hard to pick out an individual, we call it a unit error. That means there was so much awfulness happening at one time. It was hard to blame this person or that person or that person. And you know what? It's hard to blame. Well, it was a town hall error. It was a Fox News error. It was a Breitbart era. It was a you know what I'm saying? No, it was conservative. It was conservatives. It was GOP. It was conservative media. It was conservative podcasting. It was all of it, because no one was thinking rationally. We were all thinking emotionally. And I tried to tell you guys a few days before the election, yeah, it looks good, but let's not count our chickens before they hatch. Let's continue to work. Let's continue to vote. Let's continue to do what we can do. And what the GOP doesn't do is they don't do what we've talked about here today and what we talked about yesterday and what we're going to talk about every day, at least on some part of this program. My hope is to get people like Jeff Dow back on the show and others and talk about this very thing. Are we doing enough work in the places that we need to do that work? Are we actually doing that work? Or are we paying lip service to it? For all the time that I was involved in party politics, I was involved in the party, is that there was a huge lip service to outreach programs. Outreach. We need to outreach these people. We need to outreach this community. Do outreach to this community. And that was all just lip service. Nobody was doing real outreach. People were showing up at 2 weeks for the election, and the Republicans were saying, "Well, MLK was a Republican, so you should join us. You should support our crappy candidates." No, because that was a dumpster fire. As opposed to being, working in those communities, finding out what those communities need, and again, making your argument, making a compelling argument about what you're saying and what you're proposing. And the only way to make a compelling argument is that you have to listen to people first. You have to see where they are, so you can make the argument that makes the most sense. Republicans, no Republican Party in the country is doing that. None. And the Democrat Party, and I won't say Democratic Party because there's something democratic about it. The Democrat Party, they don't believe they have to. All they have to do is say, well, Republicans want to put y'all back in chains. I ain't no ways tired. If you have trouble deciding between me and Trump, then you're not black. Not a more offensive thing has been said in a presidential campaign. And black people supported that dude anyway. Wow. Amazing. Anyway, my name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody. And for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.